Hello, ho ho ho, and welcome to.
God,
Oh, what is that not bad? Is that bad? Is it?
let's
Well,
say it with a bit more gusto.
all right. Okay, wait a minute.
No, leave that in.
I can't because it's too long now. Anyway, here we go. Right. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome to the first of two Christmas episodes of Rusted Junk, where we're going outside. I think we might be going both the films. I think we're going to do for Christmas. We'll be going outside the 80s. So we're giving ourselves that's our Christmas present to ourselves that we're going to do that. But one of them had to be a sequel, of course. And what better film than the sequel to that Christmassy of Christmas films, Die Hard 2. No, it is. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. But anyway, it's 1990, so yes, we're 1 year out. 1 year out. But starring Bruce Willis, William Atherton, Bonnie Bedelia, some of the gang from number one, a few more new people in number two. Anyway, here's the trailer.
Emergencies. We are in a code yellow.
Instrument landing system is down.
Backup systems won't come up.
Every system's dead.
These guys shut us down.
Attention all controllers. We have a code red alert. We just bought maybe 2 hours. After that, those planes low on fuel aren't going to be circling. They're going to be dropping on the White House lawn.
I want every officer recalled and assembled in body armor with full weaponry in the motor pool in 5 minutes. It's time to kick it.
Our own SWAT team's gone.
Well, maybe they're just a little bit more creative than you think.
Start looking for a new miracle.
Who the hell is this?
We don't need a loose cannon on this deck.
You get the hell out of my office before I throw you out of my damn airport.
You're the wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Story of my life.
They say lightning doesn't strike twice.
That's how I spent Christmas last year.
They were wrong.
McLean, is this what you were expecting?
Nah, this is just the beginning.
Bruce Willis, Die Hard 2. Die Harder.
I do like that trailer.
Yeah, apart from the fact it's released in June.
Yeah, well, so the people who are watching on YouTube would have seen the release date was June the 29th. Yeah, well, they say lightning doesn't strike twice. Bruce, it ends up striking 5 times, if you can believe it. So, yeah.
But it's inconsistent because if it was a Christmas movie or a Christmas movie franchise, it doesn't make any sense that they would have 1 and 2 be Christmas themed and then the rest of them not be. Were there 5 Die Hards in total?
Yeah, but 2 were Christmassy themed, the others aren't.
Still doesn't make any sense.
Why?
Because I'm just saying it's like they're pushing
set around the
Christmas in the
holidays.
second. But all right,
Oh, right.
okay.
Well, as usual, I go last on the scorings. Who went first last time? Dom, in fact, Dom, you go first. Dom, Manda, Joe. There we go.
Well, hello everybody. Yeah, pleasure to be back for Die Hard 2, second Christmas film that I've done here. Yeah, terrific entertainment. What a great film. Feels very much like an 80s film, I think, even if technically it's in the 90s. And as
Made in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. So hence, I suppose, why it does. Yeah. So as a standalone film, it's exactly what you want from a trip to the cinema or a Friday night at the movies. It's smart, taut, well written, decent cast and supporting cast. Does everything it says on the tin. So I suppose my only quibble would be that as a sequel, it's necessary to compare it to the original. And given that I think Die Hard, the original, is a 10 out of 10, I think this does not quite compare. Sags a little in the middle maybe, but and no baddie can hold a candle to Alan Rickman. But still, for me, a very solid 8 out of 10. Great film.
Nice. Excellent. Amanda?
For me, yeah, I agree with Tom, actually. A good film, entertaining. There's some bits in it that are a bit it's just not going to happen. We'll come on to that. And then I scored it an 8.
Oof.
I know.
Joe, are you going to be the Santa Claus down the chimney or the Christmas Grinch on this one?
No, I agree with everybody. It's a good sequel, but like Dom said, you can't top like the original one. It's almost impossible. That broke the mold. I think while watching it in the 80s, I enjoyed it more. Probably back then I would have given it a 9 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. So
Well,
I don't know.
7
Is
out of
that-
10.
yeah.
Well, Well, I'm going to just, not predictably, don't worry, I'm not going for the full sword. This isn't Die Hard. But for sequels, this is Lethal Weapon 2. This is good sequels, good solid sequels to an otherwise fantastic foundation. Except in this particular example, the first one is a 10. I'm going to give this a 9. I'm going to give it a 9 because it's just full of good memories. There are different versions of this film. I swear, watching the version that I've got on Blu-ray is a different version to another copy I've got downstairs on Blu-ray. There's more swearing in it. The ice pick and the icicle in the eye is still in there, but I don't remember the blood coming out of the back of the SWAT team, and I'm like, okay, I don't remember that bit. I do remember. I'm sorry, I know I'm going over old ground, but I'll be very quick. I do remember going and seeing Die Hard 2 Double Bill at the Telford UCI in November. And we walked in and they played Die Hard 2 first. And we thought they've obviously missed it. We're not going to have it. Afterwards, we all got up to go and they went, oh no, we're putting Die Hard on it.
Huh?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
That makes no sense. I think somebody just cocked up. Well, honestly, I've been trying to find some evidence of me not going mad, but I'm going to have to say it. The version I saw at the cinema was a 15. It didn't have the icicle, the close-up of the icicle. It didn't have half the 3/4 of the swearing. He was using freaking reindeer down in the freaking petting zoo, right, all the time. And I reckon I saw a cut version when it came out in the cinema. And I can't find anything to back that up apart from my own memory. And I remember watching it a few years later, and went, "What's this?" They all seem to be swearing. They all seem to be there's lots of blood and guts and stuff. I didn't see this before. So yeah, there we go.
Maybe you just blocked it out.
Well, yeah, but I'd like to say, when it was released in the UK, it was a 15 and it was an 18. I wonder if it gets me wondering if anybody saw the version we've watched.
Well, it was Telford.
Complete with everything. No, not Telford.
Well, did they do that a lot over in England, like where the
No, which is why
versions?
it's not. Yeah, which is why it's not a. They'll cut certain things. You'll see certain things that we don't. We'll see certain things that you don't. Because it's all dependent on how they feel about it. So, notoriously, the one that comes to mind is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where they had to cut the nunchucks out. So basically,
And they weren't Ninja Turtles; they were Hero Turtles.
Oh, Hero Turtles.
I knew about
because
that. They were Hero Turtles over there. Yeah.
They didn't want smacking people around with pieces of wood, the kind of things Dom and I would make.
They didn't want the kids going violent in the playground.
Oh, we did. We didn't need a film to initiate violence. Just anything that came to hand.
So you were the
versus
first.
school.
So you were the first woke people.
Well, we
I
weren't.
wasn't
The British
involved in
film
the decision.
industry
But...
probably was.
Dom, do you remember school fights? Do you remember when you used to fight against the other school?
There was nothing woke about that, was there?
No, that was
the homophobic slurs that would be thrown back and forth.
Good Lord, yeah. Oh,
Well, it wasn't that. It was the bullying in your school as well. It's where they'd get like the lesser likely people that would retaliate, and they'd like if it was cold, you'd had your like duffel coat zipped up, and they'd literally wang you round the playground by your hood.
wang means throw, by the way, just for our
Wouldn't they? Do you remember
continental
that? They'd just
listeners.
literally grab hold of your hood and like pull you all around the playground. You're like, geez, my God, that.
I feel a therapy session coming on. Did you feel just vent? Sweetheart, we're here for you. If you need to talk about it.
I didn't
Brutal.
do the bullying. And
No,
I
no,
didn't
no,
get,
no, you wouldn't.
I didn't get like I saw it happen though.
Oh, so you just were an eyewitness and you did nothing.
Oh, well, yeah, tell the teacher. You're joking, aren't you?
No,
Well,
you could have.
that wasn't the worst of it, Joe. I can assure you.
If you had nunchucks, you could have attacked.
No, our school had 5 floors. So the ground, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and our form used to be on the top level, and they used to hang people out of the window by their feet.
Did they bring him back in?
Eventually, yeah.
Like Tango and Cash.
How mental's that?
But it's character forming, though, isn't it?
It's not, is it?
Since that sort of thing's become frowned upon, then society's crumbled, isn't it? Maybe bullying played an overlooked role in society, which we've taken for granted. And I say bring it back. Yeah, I say pick on the week. Yeah, let's reintroduce it.
So you think hanging people by their feet outside a window, so they're like dangling head first on the 5th floor up, is
No, it's wrong, but I'm glad nobody died.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
worse things to be hung by than your feet, I think.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
What
oh, God,
are you
yeah.
going to put in the
I forgot. We've got
synopsis
film-
of this
we've got film to
episode,
cover.
babe?
What? Okay.
I went to a Catholic school. I'm going to bring this up. So since we went off onto a different tangent, where I used to have a bunch of nuns teaching us, and I had this fat nun called Sister Jean Marie, and she would sit behind you with what is it a compass or a protractor? Whatever's got the really pointy metal piece. Compass. She would sit behind you with the compass pointed at your ass, and if you got the math problem wrong, she'd stick you.
Explains
sadistic.
Explains why Joe is a mathematical genius.
I was in the math club.
Well, so Dom, I think you might be onto something here. Threats of violence and
were any of these
physical
nuns
harm.
like in a Ken Russell film, or were they all fat and sadistic? Were any 20-something nuns? Joe, maybe we'll take this conversation offline.
We're going in wrong territory here.
Yeah,
We should be
I'll join
talking
in.
about Die Hard too.
No, they would be good villains in a Die Hard movie for sure.
But they're like the nun in Blues Brothers.
Yeah, even worse.
Oh dear. Right.
Wow.
Well,
Little glimpse into childhood memories there.
yeah, I'm not going to join in. Apart from
Cherished memories. That's our
apart from
cherished
bring
memories.
back school versus school, 70 versus 70. Let's go.
Oh
Let's do
God,
it.
yeah, like British Bulldog.
Oh,
That got banned from the playgrounds.
no,
Joe's
we weren't playing
thinking,
any games.
What the
Let's put it
hell
that way.
was British
Yeah,
Bulldog?
That was a wrestler over here.
Really?
With the
No.
WWF.
Yeah, I remember him in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just explain what British Bulldog was.
Right, this is the last thing. Honestly, if you're waiting for the film thing to come, just fast forward this like 45 seconds. British Bulldog, you had one person in the middle, and you had to run from the one side to the other. And if you got caught, then suddenly you're in the middle. And eventually you just keep going back and forth, and then everyone gets caught.
So if you imagine there's like 50 to 100 kids playing this, they're all rushing down from one end of the playground to the other. And that's where accidents happen.
Or
So
not.
that's why it got banned.
Yeah, deliberates, as they're sometimes called. Yeah, trippings, stampings, stampede, elbows.
Anyway, let's get back to Dulles Airport, shall we? It's a
Yeah, do you know, I didn't realise it was Dulles. Is that actually a real place?
It's where me and Charlie used to fly into when we were our ex-employer. Yeah.
that's right.
Is it actually real?
Yeah.
What's a real
I
airport?
thought it was Dallas.
I am. You start to see the reason why I set up this podcast in the first place, really, aren't you? So, anyway,
I can understand her.
Because it's a Christmas episode.
not really, because they're calling it Dulles, and there doesn't seem to be. It seems to be.
It does sound like Dallas. It does.
Thank you, Joe.
Are you going to edit in the sound of little jingle bells in the background?
I'm going to edit
sorry.
something in
It's
on this.
my Alf jumper.
I wish I could edit in tumbleweed, but I can't. It's,
See what I have to put up with. He's terrible, isn't he?
right, let's move on. Let's go to roll call. Come on.
Someone adopt me.
We do. Right. So, I don't know, because last time we had a jingle for roll call for Karate Kid. Does anyone want to do roll call? See, it is Christmas. Do you want to jingle with roll call or something?
All right then, I'll jingle. Roll call.
That should get the viewing numbers up if nothing else.
Well, yeah, it's suddenly rocketed to 2000. What is the secret?
Amanda, jingle your bells.
Don't have Amanda say moonlighting.
Oh God.
Right, well, we're here. Bruce Willis then. Oh, we've done it quite. We did Bruce Willis. Oh, in fact, no, you weren't here for Die Hard last year.
Who?
You weren't.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's not in my book.
Right. But so, Bruce, memories of Bruce Willis. You got highlights.
Blind Date.
Oh, good choice. That's a good. If you started with a memory, his first ever proper film role. Yeah.
Yeah, got.
I like Blind
Moonlighting.
Date. It's got everything. It's got a drunk Kim Basinger in it. Perfect.
Never seen it.
Right.
What else? Was he in any of the Look Who's Talking movies?
Yes, he was.
He was the voice of the baby, wasn't he?
Yeah, and 2 weeks after Die Hard came out, Look Who's Talking came out.
Oh,
So he had 2 films in the top 10.
wow. Quid's in then.
Yeah, one as a baby, and the other one as a Los Angeles cop now, as he is in this. He's not a New York cop. Anything else? Nothing else springs to mind?
Something with Scout in the title.
Ooh, look at
She's
this.
pretty
Getting
good.
nearer the bullseye.
Is it Last Boy Scout?
That's right.
Wow.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Ba-dum-ching.
Wonderful.
Anyone would think I'd have researched this. I haven't, clearly. Oh no, Mum's FaceTiming me.
Okay. Yeah, we have to pause it. Text her back.
Carry on. I'll just mute.
You've missed
Okay.
this
All right. Well. All
That'll
right.
do.
Be quick.
I can't remember anything else anyway.
Oh. Okay. Oh joy. Well. Anybody else before we get into the list?
She managed to miss his 2 best films, I think. Surely number 1, Pulp Fiction.
No, absolutely. Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a film. And I think, still popular but underrated, 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's a good one
Yeah.
too.
Joe, I think I know what you're going to say.
Oh yeah, and I hinted at moonlighting.
Right.
I mean, I think that went over everybody's head because when you did your jingle bells,
Yeah, I didn't think
you're
she was going to sing. I didn't think she was going to sing that, but yeah.
if she would have said moonlighting, she would have mooned the audience.
Very good. Very good.
Let's get on to that second bottle and
Yeah, just one more. No, one more glass. Probably a half more glass now.
Oh my God, my mum's amazing.
Fifth Element, I thought you were going to say.
Oh God,
I forgot
yes!
all about that. Jeez.
Yeah, you're the one that showed me and said, "Oh, I've got it in 4K on this wonderful TV." And
No, he's done a lot. I'm sure. Well, you can basically tell us what we've been missing because I'm sure there's a ton of other movies that he's done.
well, let's go. I'm just going with the highlights to be honest.
Isn't there one where he's a pilot?
Pilot. Nope.
Something Hawk?
Oh,
Oh, Hudson.
Hudson Hawk, which I'm about to say, one of my favourite films.
Hudson Hawk.
I'm one of
Okay.
the 10 people in the universe that like that film.
Oh, well done.
But it's so I don't know how to describe it apart from Bruce Willis is in it. And there are other people that were in Die Hard too.
Oh, Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense, yeah.
You're so good.
Unbreakable, Joe. How did you not get Unbreakable?
I don't know. I just wasn't thinking. It's 3:00 around here. 4:00 here.
Yeah, but not in the morning. I mean, it's like
No, but it's tea time.
We need
Also-
feeding.
But yeah, those are all great movies. I mean, it by you guys saying the names of all the movies, it makes me realize he was
It was
a
pretty
bona fide
good.
movie star. He really was.
Look Who's Talking 1 and 2. Striking Distance, where he played a cop that lived on the river and he was after a serial killer. That was really good. He was in, I put in there, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. He was in a cameo for about
Yeah, I don't
7
remember
minutes. No, 7-8 seconds, something like that. Let's not forget Sin City. He was incredible in that. Everyone was
Oh,
incredible in
yeah.
that.
Good
Jeez.
film, that wasn't it?
Yeah.
Man,
however,
Damn.
to give some balance, his career did tail off quite badly after Sin City, really, didn't it? He was
I did it because we got Planet Terror in there, so we've got another Tarantino film. We've got
But
Red, and we've got The Expendables.
what was subsequent, yeah, but we're on a bit of a downward slope there, I think, from some of the earlier highs, and he's now retired, hasn't he, with a degenerative illness that prevents him from acting. But maybe with hindsight, there was a little bit of that in some of his latter career, anyway. Perhaps.
Would we class him as a film star? Because I think no. See, I think
He's a movie star.
Would you class Arnie as a film? No, Arnie's a movie star.
So a film star implies an actor, don't you think? Like,
Yes.
and these guys are more
Yeah.
enjoyable but entertaining.
Blockbuster movies, aren't they?
The one thing about him, like from over here in this country, is that everybody wanted to be him. I mean, they just fell in love with the guy when he was in Moonlighting, and then he went on to have
Moonlighting is just so good.
It's so hard to transition from TV to movies, but he was able to do it. He was lucky that he got such good roles in it in his career. But damn, like when you compare like the 80s stars, like you mentioned Schwarzenegger and Stallone, none of us could be them, but we could always be Bruce Willis, and we wanted to be Bruce Willis. He was always the coolest guy in the room, and he really did have a lot of fans back in the day.
He was like the boy next door, though, wasn't he? Because he wasn't like overly muscly. He wasn't like, drop dead gorgeous.
Baldies, one for us baldies to.
Yeah, that's it. So
yeah.
You had hair when I first met you. Not much, but yeah, you had hair.
I just think he was that kind of, attainable appeal, potentially.
Yeah, he was the guy you wanted to hang out with for guys, and for the girls, he was the guy you wanted to bang with. I had to try to rhyme it,
But that's why Die Hard works so well, because he's not Arnie. He's just a cop that knows cop stuff and isn't afraid to get roll his sleeves up and do it. I mean, I do like the line from the trailer. Wrong place, wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time. And you think, well, yeah, that's pretty much the thing. It's Die Hard yet again, but I mean, yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Turning to a Bruce love fest. Just to be clear, for the record, Arnie, Bruce, they're both good, but I'm putting Arnie on a pedestal.
No, I don't know. I think there's a cigarette paper between them.
I think I would rather watch Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, I think Terminator 2 tops all of Bruce Willis's movies. Sorry.
Ooh. Well,
but no, his roles in those movies. I'm not going to say Pulp Fiction because I love that movie.
I do,
and he was great in that. But...
Well, can I just point out that if we don't cover insurance on this podcast, so just in case you were holding something and it was glass, and Joe said that Terminator 2 was better than Die Hard, if you've dropped something and somebody's got injured, I do apologise, but we have no.
I'd rather watch Terminator 2 than Die Hard. I'm sorry.
I think there's a debate to be had.
Well, there's a link, isn't there? Terminator 2 and Die Hard.
Ah, yes, there is. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
What is it?
The actor.
Oh, Robert Patrick. Yeah, of course.
There you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I've got it written down. It's on the other page, though. Anyway.
Oh, I thought she was providing a link.
No. Well, we can do it.
You know what? I thought it was so well choreographed.
We can skip to Robert Patrick.
Practice that.
Okay, here's one for you quiz fans. Robert Patrick also played Terminator, or the T-1000, in another film. Exact same role in a different film.
Oh, I know what that one was.
Yeah. Okay.
Wayne's World?
Nope. It was a Schwarzenegger film. If you want a bit of a...
Last Action Hero?
Last Action Hero.
Oh.
Where when he goes to the police station, he sees Robert Patrick walk out and Sharon Stone come out, dressed as Catherine Trammell from Basic Instinct, lighting a cigarette, and you're like, this is pretty cool. Robert Patrick, Striptease, Demi Moore, Copland, which I watched a few weeks ago.
Let's hold the brakes for a second. Who was he in this movie?
He was the where the SWAT team commander went, "Hey, what do I look like to you?" He goes, "A sitting duck."
Yeah, it was that scene in the film where everything else had been like military precision, and then they ambushed them in the most likely way to get shot up themselves. You're like a sitting duck. Well, ditto could have been his dying words. with a machine gun. But yeah, that it was that scene on the, what was it called, the Skywalk or something?
Annex Skywalk, yeah.
Annex. Yeah.
I must have missed him. I mean, I knew he
No.
was in the movie, but
No. Well, you go back and watch that scene on the conveyor belt. We've got him in The Faculty, where all the teachers were aliens. It's quite a good film, actually. It's about 1999, I think that was. He was in The X-Files, who took over from David Duchovny and became the agent in The X-Files.
Did he?
Yeah, for the last 2 seasons. He was in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. Again, a cameo.
Was he 6 seconds as well?
No, I think he was about 2 minutes.
Oh.
I think that's about it.
Cheaper then.
He's he's successful in something called The Unit. I don't know if you've ever watched that, Joe.
nope, I've heard of it.
And then Scorpion, which I used to watch, which is about all gifted kids, and he used to basically hire them to do work. Anyway, William Atherton. Dom, I'm coming to you first.
Just give me one moment.
Ah. So, William Atherton, the reporter. Thornburg. Dick Thornburg.
Oh, him.
Yeah. So,
Do you know him?
I was going to ask Dom, what?
No, I've
Where's-
no idea what he was in, other than Die Hard.
William Atherton, are we still on?
Yep.
He's the one saving grace in the otherwise risible real genius, isn't he?
Oh, brilliant. Professor Hathaway, yes. He's in Die Hard 1 and 2, obviously. Joe, anybody? You know, for the other... I've only got 2 other films on here, really.
Don't know.
Well, I'm just looking. He was in Real Genius.
Yeah, he's a professor.
Oh, that movie.
He's brilliant. Oh, that whole
Not,
film.
not a fan.
Just got it on 4K. It's wonderful. Yes.
It's like they're probably all excited at the production company. We got one.
A lot of love for that film, Joe. A lot of love. Okay, well, if no one's going to mention it then, Walter Peck from Ghostbusters.
Hey?
Yeah, it's the guy that tries to shut down the down the
Dom
grid.
said that.
Did you? Oh, I do apologise. Sorry, man.
Dom, did you say Ghostbusters?
I had a child running into my room asking if she could have some Calpol, so I've just wanted to sort herself out. And,
Okay.
hopefully she's not going to OD. I'm just going to
Yeah, just the one syringe.
shaky parenting going on here. So yeah, he is in Ghostbusters, but I thought you'd have already said that. So sorry.
Okay, no. And then Biodome with Paulie Shaw. Oh, the Mighty Four. But still,
Oh, Calpol. It's great stuff, though.
it is. Bonnie Bedelia, his wife.
I'll chase with my scotch.
Chaser.
Let's see where that takes the evening. Yeah.
Bonnie Bedelia. She didn't do anything else really apart from Die Hard 1 and 2.
She always sucked. I never liked her.
Was that the
Really?
lady reporter?
No,
No,
that's
it's his wife.
Oh.
Bruce Willis could have done so much better. And didn't she dump him? She dumped him in the first movie.
She
Didn't
did.
she dump him in the third or fourth movie?
Yeah, she dumped him in the third. Yeah.
After all the crap that this guy did for her, she should be his slave for life.
Oof.
You know,
Steady,
Yeah.
steady.
Careful with that. That
I
analogy,
am
but
sorry, but it's true. He saved her twice, at least twice, and their
I know.
kids.
It is a bit. Yeah, it does seem a bit mean. I forgot
Yeah, what
the.
else does he have to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Washing up, laundry.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. At the end of the film, I know we're skipping here a bit, but she says to him, "Why does this keep happening to John?" Oh, I heard there was some problem at the airport, and he goes, "Yeah, I heard that too." He's in the middle of the runway, looks all busted up. Right, I think you would assume he's been involved in some way, rather than, "Oh, I've just walked over, so I saw your plane landing, so I just walked
Yeah,
over
apart from the fact he's like half his face is covered in blood. He's got like loads of injuries and like covered in.
She
I don't
doesn't
know,
instantly make
oil
that
and
jump
whatever.
based on, well, I don't know, something that happened a couple of years ago. But anyway,
Yeah, like
It
how
might
much
be because
blood
he's
did
not
he
in a
lose?
vest. Maybe.
What?
You know, the
maybe,
vest.
maybe the best.
But you look at all the blood that he's lost in the first two movies. I mean, I don't know how that guy survives.
Oh, I was still reeling from listening to Dom when I'd listened back to the last podcast we did, Karate Kid, and Dom's going, nobody's taking account for John Kreese on the floor. He's lost about 2 bites of blood from his lacerated hands. Like, mate, that just did make me chuckle. That's good.
Good pod that last one, wasn't it? At least we got some action in this film, though, unlike the Karate Kid. That was good to see that.
Yeah, true. Oh, watch Karate Kid 3. If you think he gets his ass kicked in Karate Kid 2, blimey. He barely gets his punch in 3.
Perhaps Karate Kid 4 could take place in a British school. He could just get bullied, and so he could be dangled from his ankles from the 5th floor, and he's lost all his skills by that stage.
Or he becomes a British bulldog.
British bulldog.
Oh, dear. Look at us coming full circle. This is incredible. Reginald Val Johnson, Al Powell, his mate that he was talking to on the radio in Die Hard 1, who rings up to use his fax machine.
He's eating the Twinkies.
Yeah, he's eating the Twinkies. Yeah, he's Twinkies. Well, it's Twinkies all the way.
Right, hang on. I don't know what they are. Joe, what are Twinkies?
Horrible. Joe.
They're Hostess, I guess, cakes where it's got vanilla filling in a yellow sort of cake. I never had one in my life because I
had
like
one when I came over because I had to, because of Die Hard. I only had one. In fact, I only had half.
Vanilla.
Yeah, there's vanilla cream in the middle, and it's like a yellow cake on the outside. You know,
and it's in a wrapper, and it's just left on the shelf for ages.
You make Cadbury's cream eggs seem sour by comparison. They're like that sweet. They're sweeter than sugar on the scale of sweetness. Yeah.
Oh my god! Right, okay.
Anyway, Reginald Val Johnson. He was the limo driver in Crocodile Dundee. That's his only real other claim to fame.
No, that's not true. Over here, he's huge for Family Matters. He's mostly known for
what?
Family Matters.
Okay.
It's a TV show. Urkel, you guys never heard of that? It's a situation comedy about a black family, and he's the father, and he's got children, boy, girl, but their next door neighbor is a nerd named Urkel. It was huge over here. It was unbelievable. Anyway,
bigger than the Cosby Show?
Not as big as the Cosby Show, but it was close. I would say it was pretty damn close.
Cool.
Well, okay, we didn't get that one, but Crocodile Dundee, I think he's great in Crocodile Dundee, but I do have to point out the only other thing that I was going to mention is a film I didn't know existed until 3 months ago when I went to a party and one of our friends went, "Have you ever seen the very excellent Mr. Dundee?" I went, "The heck's that?" He went, "Oh, it's Paul Hogan now being tried to be brought back for Netflix for a Crocodile Dundee." They're all in the Netflix meeting and went, "We've got a great idea. We're going to make Crocodile Dundee 3." And he goes, "What's already been made?" He's like, "Really? Has it? Oh, okay, we'll think of something else." He puts, the story is, it's preposterous. You'll probably never watch it again. But the story is he's going to be knighted by the Queen. And he has to come over to be knighted. But all of these things happen and all of them scupper the possibility that he could get knighted. And he looks very old. It's not a film that you'll watch more than once, but once you've watched it, you'll go, "I'm glad I watched that." Let's put it that way. That's very strange way to.
I bet he's leathery as well.
Well leathery. Very.
Plot twist is Prince Andrew has to do it in the end, and it's not a happy ending. Unlike many of Prince Andrew's experiences, allegedly.
So, Franco Nero, Colonel Esperanza. Not a lot.
Who is he? Sorry.
That's not true.
I'm going to say not a lot. Can I just say that he's let me get this right, because he's the General Esperanza is from Valverde, fictitious Latin country. Amanda, why is that? What film is that also from that we covered?
Iron Eagle.
No. In Commando. Commando, it's exactly the same place.
Okay.
And you're supposed to believe.
Amanda.
But you're supposed to believe that this whole is all part of one big ecosystem. So Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger's John Matrix existed in the same place. Yeah, which is a bit odd. Try not to think about it too much.
Well, I got to say, so you're missing out on one of his famous roles. He's Django.
I was going to say, the three roles I've got are Cars 2, Django Unchained, and John Wick 2.
But he was Django before Django. He was the original Django.
Was he?
Was he? Okay, I missed that.
Yeah.
Sack the researcher.
When was
Sorry.
that made then?
Probably in the 60s. There's a couple of movies that they did. It was like a Western, and the guy was named Django. But that's why he was in the movie. It was a cameo because it was Django Unchained. He was at the bar, when the two slaves were fighting and all that. Just a quick cameo.
Oh, cool.
I think he's the weak link in this film, but we'll get to that. I think out of the, acting, I think he's the weakest.
Well, my issue with him is how the hell did he survive with a hole in the window during a blizzard and
But he can't
flying?
see.
And he's flying like 20,000 feet in the air. He would have been sucked out first of all, and he would have froze to death at the bare minimum.
Okay. Well, moving on. William Sadler. Anyone?
Who he?
Colonel Stewart.
Who he?
Yeah. Who he?
Is he the one that's naked at the start of the
That's
film?
right. That's right.
Sorry, my mind just went to that instantly.
I'll give you a clue. One of his lines from his other films is,
Oh, God.
"Don't,
Go on, I know it.
don't patronize me, you little asshole." No.
You've watched
I missed
it.
that one.
Do you want to tell her which film it is?
Bill and Ted. Yeah, he plays Death.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, he plays Death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't
Brilliant.
patronize me, you little asshole.
That's 2 out of 3. Damn right.
See, I would have got it if you would have said, "You sunk my battleship."
Oh, dear.
But he was in one of my favorite movies, which again, people
Hard
say,
to Kill.
No.
Oh, right. Okay. With Steven Seagal.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yes. Very
Yeah,
good.
he was in that. That is one of my favorite movies, but it's not that one. It's Rocket Man.
What, the new one?
No, there was a movie called Rocket Man. I think it came out in the 90s. It was
Yeah, I
a
saw that,
comedy.
and I thought I don't even know what that is, so I didn't.
Some movies you just like and you find hysterical, because everyone else I've shown that movie, they hate it. But it's about like a team that goes to Mars, and it's a comedy, and I love it. I think it's really funny. But he plays his role serious. He's like the captain of the astronauts. But I always remember him. Anytime I see a movie, I just think of Rocket Man. Anyway,
Okay.
You don't have to watch that movie because you'll probably just curse at me because say that it sucks.
Well,
but
probably better than the Elton John version, Elton John film. But anyway, I've got him as Hard to Kill. He played the corrupt senator alongside Steven Seagal. He's in Tales from the Crypt, Shawshank Redemption, The Mist, which probably has the bleakest ending to any film that I've ever seen, ever. He was also in the TV show Damages. He was the president in Iron Man 3, the one that was put in Iron Patriot at the end.
really,
Broke
I
up at
didn't
the
know
end. Yep. He was also in a TV series, which I didn't watch, called Power. And he did return as Death for Bill and Ted Face the Music. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, well, I've watched, based on your opinion, Joe, I've never watched it. I want to. Dom, have you seen it?
The last Bill and Ted one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I have. Yeah, I was a fan of that series.
That's why I didn't watch it, because I was a fan of the series.
Okay.
But,
But what do we think about him? Because I thought he's a good actor, but he just suffers in comparison to Alan Rickman. That's his.
yeah, well, you're not going to get Alan Rickman's platinum level. I mean, it's just, I mean, I can't wait to watch Die Hard. I'm looking at the train strikes to see if I can go and actually watch it with the selection of wine that I think I told you, the showing they're doing in Birmingham. They bring you different wines throughout the film. I'm like, yeah, I'll go and watch Die Hard in that situation. Maybe people will be shouting out.
Correlation in the part of the film, depending on the type of wine that they bring out, and
No, I think it's just we
finished that one. Now you can have
somebody's
this
just
one.
got shot through a table and lost half of his limbs. Here's a nice Cabernet Sauvignon. So this fits very well. A Pinot Noir, actually, probably at that time, but still, it's not getting to me.
I did want to say I will agree with Amanda. He looked pretty good naked, that guy,
Wow,
and that's coming from a straight man.
it was okay. It's quite
Well, it was okay.
Quite bony.
toned, wasn't he? It's not my type.
It was bony though.
Not really.
Oh,
He had a nice bottom.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. I wouldn't mind having his ass.
right. Moving on.
Spit that out for
in the proper way.
Yeah.
In the proper way.
Don't take that out of context.
No, please don't. John
Happy
Amos.
Christmas. Who?
I forgot his name. The guy of the counter-terrorist unit. Grant. Thank you. Starred in the TV series Hunter, which was good. It was very good. He was also the prison guard in Lock Up with Sylvester Stallone, but he's probably most famous for Coming to America and Coming to America.
Wrong.
Wrong.
He's most famous for Good Times over here.
The chickens. This again. Right. Okay.
Jiggins is Good Times.
Yeah. Go on. What is it?
No, Good Times was like one of the first black sitcoms
Right.
that was made over here. It ran for many, many seasons. Everybody knew the characters in Good Times, especially JJ was the most popular one. It was a great show. It was a fun show.
Was it better than the Cosby Show?
It's no.
No,
It was depressing.
The
at times.
Cosby Show was
No,
great.
but I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, but anyway, he was great. You know, he was the father. James.
Okay, for all of the people that don't live in the US that listen to this podcast, and I know where you are because I get to see where you've. God, that sounds creepy. I know where you're listening
can
from. I know what
see
country
you.
you're listening from. That's about it. That's as far as I get. But I watched Coming to America in the background this morning, and that film holds up. That film is great. I did make the mistake of once I'd finished work of sticking on Coming to America, the sequel, and I can honestly say that Dom, you're absolutely 100% spot on when you told me to skip it. I don't think I've ever seen an idea with established characters work so badly in my life. It is that bad.
Really? Because
It
I
was
haven't seen
that-
it. Because I thought we
that's
were going to
bad.
watch that together.
Oh, dear.
Obviously,
It
skipped
had
that.
its moments, but
It
yeah,
didn't have well in the first 45 minutes. It's got nothing, Joe, apart from embarrassing set pieces, incomprehensible threads. Oh, shocking!
Yeah, it's awful.
Thanks. Yeah, I should listen to you more, Dom. I will.
Right, we got any more on roll call? Because
Yeah,
like,
a little bit more. Right, so we're going to go Dennis Franz, Carmine. He was in NYPD Blue and Hill Street Blues, which I loved. Fred Thompson, who plays Trudeau, the guy in charge of the airport. Days of Thunder. He's also in Hunt for Red October. Cape Fear.
he was a U.S. senator.
Was he now? Okay.
Yeah.
for real?
Yeah, I think he was mostly a U.S. senator.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was one of my trivia times. Yeah, he was, full-on senator for 10 years and ran for Republican Party presidential candidate as well. So it's no wonder he looks
Oh,
authentic.
wow. Okay.
Authority figure in the roles he often portrays.
He's good in this. It's good in this. He's also in Iron Eagle 3. Yeah. And Law and Order, which I
I
didn't
don't
watch.
think he aimed high enough. I think he's a quality actor who does
He
bring
is.
gravitas to the role. He could have won Oscars, I think, if he'd applied himself a bit more, perhaps. I know he had a politics career too, but with a better director and a different sort of film, he could have. Well, sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah. Moving on, Don Harvey. I've forgotten his name in the film, but he's the one that puts his hand over the camera and says, I forgot what he says now, the famous line. No pictures, you pinko bitch. Whatever. So Stuart's number 2 in the film. The one that passes the presents underneath the table and says, carry out your duties. He was in Casualties of War. He's quite a good actor. He was also in the Untouchables. But he was in Hudson Hawk. He played a character called Stickers. He was in Tank Girl, Taken 3, and he played the limo driver in Better Call Saul. Don't know. I don't watch it.
Season?
It didn't say. Just said the limo driver. He was in 3 episodes, so I assume it was an arc rather than a recurring.
Because I'm on season 3 at the minute,
Okay.
and I can't remember him.
Well, when you see a limo driver, you'll go, "Oh, wait a minute, I know where you're from." Last one, and then quickly into the director, John. I never know how to pronounce it. Leguizamo.
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 Yeah.
He was in Madonna's Borderline video. That's where he started his career. He was also in Casualties of War again. Michael J. Fox, Sean Penn. He was Luigi in Super Mario Brothers, executive decision. He was Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet, the Baz Luhrmann remake.
How varied is this?
Yeah. He played Spawn, the cartoon character, the demonic cartoon character. Demonic.
Well, he didn't play
character.
Spawn. He played the villain in Spawn.
Oh, I thought he played. Oh, okay. Are you ready for this? He played Sid in Ice Age, all of the Ice Age films. So he voiced Sid.
Oh,
He was in Kick-Ass 2, John Wick 1 and 2. He was in The Mandalorian.
cool. Very varied career then.
Yeah. And he was also Bruno in Encanto.
But we don't talk about him.
Ah, thank you. I was waiting for somebody to. And then lastly, just to have a quick look at the director, Rennie Harlin cuts his teeth on Nightmare on Elm Street 4, is making The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, and they see the early dailies of Ford Fairlane, and they say, "Can you come and direct this film?" And both films came out at the same time. I'm a huge fan. I mean, a huge fan of The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. If anyone watched it these days, and basically you'd make it to about 2 or 3 minutes, and then you go, "What is this? It's so offensive." But my goodness, I had happy memories of that film. Andrew Dice Clay, yes. He also directed Cliffhanger, The Long Kiss Goodnight, and Deep Blue Sea, which, as a Jaws aficionado, I can say passes the shark test. It's a good shark movie. It's not the best.
Wasn't he married to Gina Davis?
He was, which hence the Long Kiss Goodnight.
And Cutthroat Island.
Cutthroat, yeah, but nobody watched that. That's got Matthew Modine in it. Nobody watched that, Joe. Anyway, right, that's roll call. That's over.
Gosh, that was a marathon.
It was a little bit, but so let's talk about the first bit of the film. What do we think about the setup, the whole premise, the terrorists, the luggage, installing the thing? What do you think about executing the plan? Well, how do we like the start of this film?
Anybody?
Anyone? Bueller?
Well, I think it was well written. I mean, but the big problem, like I know Dom had said, is that it's hard when we compare it to the original Die Hard. Die Hard started the whole thing like when Seagal started making movies. What was that movie that he made where he was a chef?
Under Siege.
Under Siege, yeah. They said it was on Under Siege was Die Hard on a ship, and there was I guess that's that one word. Like there's so many things that you see now. Like when The Rock does a movie, it's like, oh, that's Die Hard with The Rock, or it's a genre.
Executive Decision was with Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal was called Die Hard on a Plane.
Well, this is Die Hard at an airport.
Yeah,
basically, and I guess they're allowed to do that since it is Die Hard. But it's tough to come up with a good sequel. It was decent, don't get me wrong, but while I was watching this movie, I kept thinking they really dropped the ball with the character John McClane and Bruce Willis, because he really could have been the James Bond of this country, because he was so good. He was so likable. He wasn't perfect. He was always getting shot. He was always falling through windows. And I think he would have just been so much better. But I think the third one was well received over here, but it just didn't feel like Die Hard to me. It felt more like a Scooby-Doo movie, because like they were going after trying to find clues and all that. And then the fourth and the fifth one, I never even bothered watching it. It just didn't seem like Die Hard. But I just felt while watching this movie, what a missed opportunity. They didn't push John McClane more. Like within, I don't know how far apart the sequels took place, like how long it took them to fill between sequels, but he could have been a really, really popular character. Like he would, I think if you look back, like say you go back or go into the future, like 100 years from now, and people look at films, they can put him up there with John Wayne as a character that people knew and as like an American icon. It's just like, I just wish he had a couple of more good Die Hard movies in his belt.
Was it the character that was the problem? Was it the settings? I did think that the airport detracted a little bit. The skyscraper, big as it is, it felt more claustrophobic, it felt more contained. There was not the start necessarily, but in the middle of the film, certainly a bit of him running around in those underground tunnels and things, which is like getting him from A to B, and wasted time. I didn't think it was as taut unscripted as the first one, but that's more the setting than the character.
Yeah, I thought he just had so much charisma in this one, and he did in the first one, of course. It's just, yeah, the story could have been a little better, like you said.
I'll throw Charlie a bone here and say that I did feel it was more Christmassy than the first one, which just happened to be set at Christmas. I thought, there were choirs, there was a bit of snow, Charles. So
yes, well, I did send the link to you on the WhatsApp about Die Hard being a Christmas film, and apparently all the references that make a Christmas film, it kicks the behind of Miracle on 34th Street, and I'm like, yeah, it goes into carols, references to Christmas, and so on, and it's just there's loads. So Die Hard is definitely a Christmas film. Let's just end that, and this is a Christmas film as well. None of the others are. But yeah.
Upon us all, apologies, listeners. But I liked it when they. One of the things I like about both the first two Die Hards is, it's well edited. It kind of pacey. It gets you from A to B pretty efficiently. And when they took over that church near the start, and the caretaker laments, it kind of feels like a piece of me is dying with this church, and he says, "Well, you're certainly right about that." Bang between the eyes. I thought that was a nice little moment.
I thought it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. No faffing
You
around.
need that though.
Yeah,
You don't want them
hard, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want them to have pillow fights.
Yeah.
After last week's trip to Japan, when we saw them, and everything that involved, it was nice to get someone shot between the eyes in the first few minutes, and then the first major shootout in the luggage reclaim after 12 minutes. It was brilliant. There were bullets flying everywhere. I mean, granted, they're terrible shots, all of them, but
yeah. Yeah. I do like the idea that the woman, A, how she got a taser on the plane,
Oh God, yeah. I was just
and
about to
B,
think
how
about
she
that.
can say out loud, why would you tell a stranger that? Why would you go, yeah, I tried it on my dog. Poor thing limped for,
She was
few
jacked
weeks.
up on champagne.
Yeah, but you don't go, hey, hi, everyone. I mean, the marshals would be on you these days. It would be pinned on the floor, and you'd have like plastic things, and you'd be, around your wrists.
So I have a
But she's
trivia
fine with
question.
telling her that.
Was that taser the same taser that was in Batman Returns? Because it did look like it.
That she puts to Christopher Walken's,
Yeah.
where she kisses him at the end. Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer.
I don't know. Maybe
it's the
that
same.
was
Well, it's the same gun. So the same gun he's using is the same gun from Lethal Weapon and Lethal Weapon 2. They just swap. They use the same prop between them. So that's the exact same gun that Martin Riggs uses. Is the exact same one that John McClane has. So yeah. But you should express surprise. We only talked about it 2 podcasts ago. But yeah.
Was this a Fox movie?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. No, I'm just saying Batman was Warner Brothers, but no, it's probably a popular taser that they had back then, but it was a giant one. It looked like a cat, like that's why Catwoman was using it.
Right.
Kind
okay.
of. But anyway, I thought that
Other
might have been
tasers
trivia.
are available.
Yes.
I do think the whole planning. I do think the characters. I think you're right, Don. It's we're treated to a bit of exposition. You don't need too much in films like this.
It was quite exposition heavy, wasn't it? There was a lot of news channels happened to be tuned to the right story at the right moment. As the background.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
And everyone was watching it as if it was like, prime time. The OJ trial. I was like, not everyone would have it on.
No, some complex congressional deal involving the leader.
But wait a minute, who had it on? He had it on in his TV room when doing his naked yoga. He had it on in the church. She had it on in the car rental place. And the first woman that he went to see to talk about something, and she looks to one side and there's the monitor with it all on. I'm like, this isn't. Statistically, you would all be watching different things.
At one stage, they were one step away from getting finger puppets out to explain what was going on, and the guy flying in from Valverde. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, he's about to fly in, and
exposition heavy. I felt.
Well, I do wonder when some minor annoyances. There was one door between the main concourse and getting into the actual airport and on the runway. One door, which turns out quite easy to easy to open. It's not like a sealed door or anything like that. So, oh, can you open it? Yeah, I've got this badge. All right.
Oh, if we're talking about doors, then
Well, we were, but yeah, okay.
the crowds, the hordes that were able to get into the air control tower.
Yeah,
What's that
where was
about?
because there was an access panel on there, so everyone just seemed to be coming in and helping
John
themselves.
McClane. Up pops the journalist.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
it's a
wondering who's
free-for-all.
controlling this.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think it could have opened a little better, like where we could have seen maybe a little glimpse of the first Die Hard movie, and then see like how he became famous, because it seems everybody knew who the hell he was when he was in the airport.
Hmm.
Maybe you've gotten like a medal from the president or something like that for so many people to know who he was. Even the terrorists knew who he was once that.
Wait a
that,
minute. The only people
What?
that know who he was Colonel Stewart, and then he had to be reminded later on in the film. John McClane, the hero of the Nakatomi, and they're like, so he didn't recognise him. The only person that recognises him is one reporter. He's walking around in an airport. There should be statistically be at least 20 people going. Wait a
Captain
minute, aren't
Lorenzo
you-
knew who he was.
Aren't you the guy from? Well, he's a cop and get around in cop circles, isn't it?
Crop circles.
That's
but
enough
he's walking
people.
through. He's going
That's
to
not
the
crop circles.
Right, you know he has
crop
to reach-
circles.
when his pager goes off and he has to get to the phone and he beats somebody that's coming to it as well. That person should go, "Oh, I'm really sorry, Mr. McClane. You're a national hero. Of course you can use the phone. Yeah. What was I thinking? There's nothing like that. Nobody recognises him.
And right, okay, when he takes the fingerprints of the guy that he's shot that's in the body bag, he's sending them by fax. Now,
that's a good point.
the graininess of a fax,
Yeah.
even the most loveliest produced
In 1990s faxes
image,
as well.
never really got received in as it was sent in the same quality. So how on earth, even though he said I've ringed the worlds, how on earth could you use that to then identify something in a national computer for fingerprints? If that's the case, then your computer is not very good.
But well, the writers are sat there drumming the fingers going, how are we going to get Powell back in? How are we going to get his mate back in? Well, I don't know. It's to send him something to look at. How about fingerprints? Well, the fingerprints don't work over fax. I'll just do it. It's fine. It'll work. It's fine. Nobody will spot it out. Maybe somebody might spot it in a podcast 32 years later.
What happened
But
to
yeah.
Argyle? Why couldn't they shoehorn Argyle back into it? The chauffeur, surely.
Oh, yeah. That's what was missing. Yeah, Argyle.
And when they eventually obviously shut down the runway and converted the traffic through their supplementary systems, the bad guys, this is exactly when your business continuity goes wrong. A, you've been hacked, and B, you've got no backup systems in order to recover. And then they've thought about all the other possibilities that you could potentially tap into, and they've even ambushed you to see if you would actually go and use the alternative method, the radio control tower. Just like
It's almost like they're from the military.
you could,
Well, that's why it's a 7
you
out of
could
10.
port that in today's society for business continuity and being ransomwared and attacked and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, if this is an airport that they use around Washington, D.C., they should, like you said, have a backup plan. They should have backup generators. They could have gotten like a line of fire trucks to be the runway, and just light them up, or
They
put
couldn't have
Christmas
done that.
lights on them.
They couldn't have done. I know you're going to say, why didn't they do the same thing as they did at the end, at the start, and put petrol everywhere, or blow up a couple of vehicles they don't need so that at least people can triangulate it? It's because the terrorists would have retaliated. They couldn't do anything.
How would they retaliate?
Because they would be able to see, because they're in the church next door.
I know, but what would they do? How would they
Crash
retaliate?
some more planes, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if the planes were coming down and they saw those lights that the airport personnel and the police put down, they would know something was up.
There'd been no film then, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, well, suddenly, yeah.
That's true.
You're right, though. That's the sort of thing I would have picked up. But yeah.
Something that tickled me about the start of the film was how much of a heavy smoker John McClane had turned into.
I know. What's that about?
I don't remember him smoking at all in the first one. But
Chain smoking within the first half an hour, wasn't it? It was literally light up, put it out, light up.
Eventually, or spoiler alert, it's all revealed that it's so he's got a Zippo in his pocket at a crucial moment later on. Honestly, it's foreshadowing that.
That's a good point.
You expect him to be running through the tunnels later on and just having to stop and lean up against the wall and just get bloody hell, hang on a minute, and just cough up his lungs. It
would have been ironic if he'd have run out of fuel.
Yeah.
That's not ironic.
They're having a tense conversation around the radar or something like that, and he just, for God's sake, John, can you stop coughing? And he's just like clutching his chest. Yeah, I mean, it's absurd the amount that he smokes in this.
Yeah.
Did he use his lighter to light those rags that he was going to try to land?
Yeah.
I wonder if they were selling that lighter, as merchandise tied into the movie.
Well, you'd be fool not to. John McClane cigarettes. Yes, let's have the whole health package ready for you.
And there's somebody who'd buy them. Yeah.
Yes, I would have. Yes. I would have done. I used to buy when they came out. So before the warnings, which are now packed cigarettes, they used to call death cigarettes, and it used to be a skull and crossbones on the front. And it used to be, and I used to get them from the specialist tobacconists in Crewe where I was. They were some of the best cigarettes I've ever had. They were just wonderful.
Yeah.
So it backfired, everyone, because I ended up, I was going to say smoking more. I couldn't have smoked
no
more.
filter is guaranteed to give you cancer.
I used to smoke little roll-ups.
You used to smoke menthol cigarettes when I met you.
Yeah, and like Silk at 100s.
Might as well not bother.
They were like extra long cigarettes.
Extra long with very little enjoyment.
But
The last pod I came on, I really fancied a drink, and now this pod, I'm really fancying a cigarette.
Oh, you don't smoke, do you, Dom?
Get into trouble.
No, but sometimes, just like now, I've got a fair bit of whiskey inside me. Just all this talk about smoking.
It's a cigar then, yeah. Oh, very nice.
Are you a cigar man?
No, mainly because the only time I'd ever smoked them was at social occasions like weddings or birthdays, and you have to just disappear outside these days for an hour and a half. So it's like not the most sociable thing to do. It's like, really fancy a cigar. I'll see you in 90 minutes.
Oh my God. Bill Clinton liked a cigar, didn't he?
He did.
Me and Slick Willie have got more than one thing in common here.
Mind you, Monica liked a cigar or two as well, didn't she?
I knew that was coming next.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Oh God, sorry. Right.
Can we just talk about the lack of CGI? I mean, there was CGI. There was CGI, but
and
it's nice to see sets. It's nice to see actual sets. It's nice to see a plane crash where it's not all digitized. It's not green screen. That's actually the wreckage of a plane behind you. I miss that, and this is why I love 80s films so much. It's why I like most 90s films so much, because there's less CGI. And now you can put anyone anywhere, and it all looks a bit false.
But there was a lot of green screen in this one, like when he ejects from the plane.
Yeah, okay, that's definitely one. Yeah,
it's funny because
but look at that plane at the end. Yeah, but look at the plane thing at the end. You're taxiing the plane down the runway. He's not standing on a board in California being filmed. He's actually on the stunt double is on the plane, but the close-ups and everything. That's like how filmmaking used to be and should be. But it's never going to go back.
That trailer that you showed in the beginning was not the trailer that I remember seeing. We saw where John McClane ejected in the plane, like when it was spoiled for us.
Oh, okay. No, that was our
face.
trailer. That was the UK trailer, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What I did find quite funny, that it was a British joke, was when they were up on Windsor Flight 114. Obviously, Windsor's a made-up flight.
They all are.
And then the stewardess gets asked, "Are we going to get there?" She's like, "Oh yes, we're just like British Rail. We may be late, but we'll get you there." It's like, what's that?
You might not be
Yeah.
you might not be alive when you get there, but we'll get you there.
We may be late, and you'll possibly suffer a fiery death.
Oh God, we'd be crisped. Yeah, yeah. Blimey. British Rail.
Is that a good thing to put in from a US perspective? Does everyone go,
No.
don't know what they're talking about, but
I just think, why pick on the British? You know, if they could, any country, they had like 159 countries they could have picked for the one that they ploughed into the tarmac, and they blatantly choose the British because nobody really cares if it's us that gets done.
Because we still got a grudge with that war that we had with you.
I just think we're everyone's favourite victims, aren't we? You surely could have ploughed a plane load of French people into the ground, or Russians these days. But yeah, well, you trust the Allies, you know.
I agree, they're French.
Boys again.
I'm kidding.
You still haven't forgotten freedom fries, have you, Joe? Yeah. Okay.
No,
Okay,
I felt
get it.
bad for that old British lady, you know.
And I thought
She was nervous.
The way the British passengers were portrayed to have panicked. In reality, I'm sure in that sort of situation that they would have just looked stoically ahead, stiff upper lip, maybe sipping a cup of tea.
Well, we did all applaud.
Yeah,
Well done, hooray!
Crashed into the tarmac. Terribly bad luck. Yeah.
What I liked is the pilot is Cole Meany. He was Chief O'Brien in Star Trek Next Generation. And he's also in a lot of films where his thick Irish accent comes out.
Wasn't he in this one?
He couldn't possibly be. Oh, probably, yeah, maybe from an early age. But yeah, says, "Well, where the bloody hell have you been?" You're like, he'd never talk like that. I mean, I know his real accent, so anyway.
Yeah, I thought they dubbed him in the very first line that he said because it didn't sound like him at all.
That might have been. I mean, because otherwise, I don't think he could pull off.
But I think what they should have done is they should make seats out of that doll that survived. That way you would survive.
That I thought it was pretty dark. If you think about
that is dark, Joe.
The fact, all that joke was dark, but that's in a good way. But yeah, the fact that they do crash this plane, he ineffectually waves his torch, doesn't have any effect, and they're all murdered. 300 odd people, and it's not really referred to that much in the film again, is it? And yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. Many films would have shown that mass murder. It would have been narrowly avoided or something. But yeah, it's pretty dark.
And meanwhile. No planes are landing at all. Windsor 114 crashes. It's fire everywhere. And the report, so two things. One, the planes up there don't see any of this because they're too high up, potentially. But she gets onto the runway in about 10 minutes. And she's there with it in the background. And I'm like, you wouldn't have been allowed, realistically, you wouldn't have been allowed anywhere near that. Then there would have been a sort of cordon around it. But yeah, why couldn't they use the take the positives from a very bad situation? And
the thing that surprised me was the fact that you'd got that plane Windsor Flight 114 crashing, yet everyone's still in the airport. Did they not see that crash?
That's a good point. Yeah,
because it's not until the journalist Dick on the plane later on in the film is broadcast live that everybody seems to be tuned into this channel for some reason, that then it's pandemonium, everybody's trying to get out the airport.
Oh.
But surely if there was a plane crash at the airport,
you would have heard it, you mean?
Chances are you'd have seen it or heard it, surely.
Yeah. And the people in the airport go, we're watching this reporter stood with plane wreckage on planes on fire behind her. And none of them are going, oh God, is that the reason why they're all delayed? Is something going on? Would that happen to my family who are coming in from Fresno or whatever? And nobody even seems to ask the question. It's like, all right, okay.
Luckily, it's just a plane full of Brits. That's what the message is there. I think really, it's.
I think you're right. It's like that was just the British.
You went through a period in the 90s where you just made films where we were the bad guys. Because I mentioned Cliffhanger, and I remember John Lithgow from Cliffhanger. He couldn't have been more. I mean, I know he's American, but he couldn't have been more English if he tried.
We still do.
You don't, because there's no baddies anymore in films, Joe. We discussed this.
Well, we can't even use the Russians anymore, so it's like. Anyway,
Well,
I don't know.
we
Maybe they
could
were.
have Hunt for Red October, where the one Russian that means anything, is a good guy. But anyway, enough about Ramius. So yeah, I think it's. I mean, the miscasting, Marv down in the tunnels. He's the owner of the gun club in Beverly Hills Cop 2. And you put those two together and you go, go and have a look at the two of them together and you go, really? Yeah. How apart was this? 3 years. He looks like he's aged 15 years. But
yeah, he kind of stuck out as he just didn't belong there.
Really? I didn't like the line, just like Iwo Jima. That's ridiculous. And the other line I didn't like, and the only line I didn't like Bruce Willis saying, which is the one in the trailer, is this what you expected or something? Or no, this is just the beginning. That is a rubbish line. The rest of it's amazing. Sliding doors moment. So when the counter-terrorist unit come, and then he's not allowed to go into the briefing room.
Civilian,
Oh, if he'd have been allowed into the briefing room, then he would never have worked out to go and intercept Esperanza's plane. Oh, it's what if, Joe? What if? He would have been up there, nobody would have listened to him, he got frustrated, but he would have missed his chance. And then the factually incorrect, and I was thinking about you, Joe, at this point. Where do we get the lights from? Borrow them from Batman. Batman never had those lights. The police had the lights. And I was like, why are they going to borrow from Batman? He doesn't have any. The bat signal's always lit up from the police station. See? Is that right, Joe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would he have lights to signal
because it's a
himself in
calling
his
light
back garden?
for Batman, isn't it?
Well, maybe Batman could have called Commissioner Gordon and then he could have turned them on.
What would have his symbol been like? So that all of these lights just flashing around everywhere like lightsabers. Like, wait a minute, can somebody just tell me which one I should be looking at?
It's like a rave.
Oh dear. So, did we like the scene in the plane where Esperanza lands and he goes, freedom, bang? Not yet.
Not yet.
I like the scene before that when Bruce Willis climbs out that grill, that manhole cover on the runway.
Yeah.
Seems a bit implausible, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt that does actually happen. And I remember when I watched it for the first time, that kind of got me more than other parts of this film, because at one point it looks like the thing's going to land on top of him in like seven arms. Yeah, that was quite good. I like that scene.
One thing I had a bit of an issue with was when he'd gone to the plane that lands at Esperanzo's piloted, and he gets on the plane, and then like the crew turn up to pick up Esperanza, and then they then decide to lob a load of grenades. Bloody hell, they took ages to go off.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Especially customized, yeah.
Within like 4 seconds, they'd have.
Yeah, it tells you 1, 2, 3, throw, boom.
Yeah, and like it took at least 10, 12 seconds.
No, I looked at it. I looked at the trivia time, and it was 37 seconds for the first one landing. Going up. Yeah.
Enough for him to get strapped into a chair, pull the ejector lever, poof up, and then kaboom.
Topped up his drink. He could have had a cigarette on the way up as well. Yeah,
well, he's got a light, so yeah.
Yeah, that annoyed me. Actually.
Yeah, like a stewardess could have popped her head in from the rear and said, "Please fasten your seatbelt, sir."
I'm not sure that was even the most unrealistic thing about that scene either. Really, it was more the fact that he actually survived that huge explosion.
Oh yeah,
and he manages to land with a little quip. What was it? Where's the effing door? As he's tangled up in the parachute.
Oh God, yeah.
Or like, where's the effing ambulance? Because I've been horribly burnt and maimed, and my spine is now residing out somewhere.
And I forgot, were they shooting at him while he was in his parachute?
No, they didn't bother. Why not?
Because the police came.
Because the
police are coming there to get out of there.
Florida dance guy.
Which actually gives credence to your point, Joe. If they're so worried about the police, and it wasn't the police that were coming, it's just fire engines, in which case they would have stood there and just had all the guns and presumably they had some grenades left over. They wouldn't have been scared of the fire. Oh, I was about to
Well,
say
like Amanda said, it's a movie.
firefighters.
But yeah, like we're the screen doctors right now, and like the armchair quarterbacks. It's too bad like we weren't part of the writing team, but again, it doesn't matter. It was a fun movie. When I saw it, I enjoyed it thoroughly, like when I was in my younger days. But now that we're older, we're a little bit more cranky.
But they're still not going to change our schools because we still haven't. Well, I think universally, even your low school, Joe, it's liked. I could watch this. I could go down and watch it again now.
Speaking of my score, I just wanted to say I looked on IMDb. The critic score for this movie is a 7.1 out of 10.
Well, I don't know anything.
The audience score for this movie is a 7.1 out of 10. So they all agree.
What's on Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, okay. While you're doing that, can I ask a question and everyone be honest? Did everyone get the fact that the counter-terrorism unit was on his side all the time when you watched it for the first time?
So the first time, yeah.
I didn't get it.
Oh no, the first time, no, I didn't. No,
I didn't get the blue and red.
No, I did pick up
the
on
red
it,
was
though.
armor piercing. This is on trivia. This is the trivia on IMDb. One of them is people actually thought that the red was armor piercing, and I was like, that's exactly what I thought when I saw it. One of them is a lesser bullet. One of them is a armor piercing bullet. But I didn't guess that they were all in on it.
The first time I watched it, I noticed that was the red and the blue, and I thought, blues must be blanks. Because no one's getting dead.
Yeah. Tom, Joe, did you guess it, or did you just think that?
I didn't spot the bullets, but I think the guy that plays the major, he gives you a bit of a nod and a wink every so often that he's not necessarily everything that he's appears to be. I would say.
Right.
No, I didn't. I thought he was a good guy. I mean, he defended McLean at some point and says, you're my guy and all that. And I was like, well, that's
because he tells
what you focus on.
to go and do something else, doesn't he?
Yeah, do something nasty.
And direct traffic, wasn't he? Yeah, the bit where I thought was quite funny was after that bit with all the sled riding and stuff, and then obviously John makes it back to HQ in one piece still. Look, just don't know how, having been blown up from a bloody what they called sled things,
snow skis.
Is that what they're called?
They're not called sled skis, are they? Never heard that term before. But...
Snowmobiles.
No,
snowmobiles.
Yeah.
That's it. I was struggling to find the word yesterday as well.
Sled skis.
Sled ski. I didn't say sled skis.
No swooshes.
I've lost my train of thought. Oh no! So they get back, and then that's when the journalist Dick releases the footage live. And then we get the classic, everybody's panicking, getting out of the airport. And what do we have? Cop car pilot. Yes.
The 80s. The 80s straight 90s.
Apart from the fact they only had to drive 5 meters because there was so many people there anyway. And it was the taxi that got in the way. So that was it. Everybody came to a halt, didn't they? But it didn't last very long. But I thought it was a little bit of a nod to the 80s with the cop car pilot. I thought
the scene you were going to refer to was the one where McLean demonstrates their blanks by shooting the point blank range, risking one of his colleagues just whipping a pistol out and blowing his head off.
And everyone's got guns pointed at McLean. Why wouldn't they just shoot him? You know?
Absolutely. So minor annoyance.
So I have my data.
Oh, okay. In a minute. They get into the church. It's wired with C4. Even if that was proper C4, it's probably just a battery with lights. But he says, "Oh, you need to evacuate." He goes, "No, I can land the planes with this." Auditor alert. Wouldn't you risk assess the situation and go, "Do you know what? I'll take my chances. I'll land a couple of planes. I'll land as many as I can. And if it takes me out, then I'll be a hero. And if nothing happens, then I would have saved hundreds of lives." Why wouldn't he have just gone, well, who's in charge here? And who is in charge? Is it John Amos? Is it the guy the head of the counter-terrorism? And does he assume it was just Carmine go, "Oh, just stay in there. That's fine. We'll go off and we'll intercept them. But you land as many planes as you possibly can." I would have done that. If I was the only person with knowledge, I would have gone, I will take my chances to save people. Could have got about 10 planes in by the time it goes off. If it ever did go off. But I mean, he'd always be remembered. Sadly, it probably comes in as an afterthought when they made the TV movie of this movie. Real life potential, but still.
Jeez. Disney owns the rights to Die Hard, man. I hope they don't reboot this series or remake it.
They're trying so hard with Back to the Future. They are resisting so much. Again, it's not happening. But I've been told that when it comes to the 40th anniversary, Robert Zemeckis is going to release, and I know his name comes in every podcast, they're going to release the Zemeckis cut, the Stoltz cut. He said, because it's not fair that we're sitting on this. We'll show you and we'll tidy it all up and we'll give you Eric Stoltz in Back to the Future.
I'll believe that.
Not needed.
It is needed.
It's not needed.
It's needed for Charlie.
It's needed for
Charlie. It's rubbish.
Look, there's my doctored poster.
Can't see it.
Yeah, you could put that right next to a 4K version.
In fact, I am going to. Do you know what?
Real Genius.
Just for people watching it on YouTube. I'll probably get sued. It's fine. But there is the proper poster.
It's like Jack White.
How it should have looked.
Jack White.
How it should have looked. But anyway, we got Michael J. Fox and it's a perfect film. So, but I do want to see the other one. So if we're coming to the end of the film, what did we think about the final set piece? Did we think it was?
It was
good?
long. That runway was well long, wasn't it?
Not as long as the runway in Fast and Furious 6, apparently.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Which is where they're chasing planes in supercars. And somebody, I think it was Mark Kermode, worked out how long the runway would have had to have been with how fast they were going.
It was about 3 miles.
How far they travelled. No, it was 37.5 miles. So that's how fast. That's how far the runway would have needed to be for that scene to have been filmed. But yeah, it went on for quite a long time. So
it did, didn't it? Yeah.
That's like here to Birmingham and sort of back. But again, I liked the fact that it's not a CGI plane; it's a plane, and it's just people are doing stunts and making you believe the magic of films, and that's why
it was a very simple solution, wasn't it? The fuel dump.
I remember watching this in the cinema for when it first came out, and I thought it was a brilliant ending to the film at the time. So you call it simple, but simple as in effective. I thought,
yeah.
With the fuel's leaking and he gets his lighter out and shoots up and bang, there you go. I thought it was really creative and brilliant.
It is. It's great. I mean, forget we could be armchair critics on this and say, oh, well, when it mixes with the snow, it wouldn't have lit up and stuff like that. So, do you know what? If you start applying that to everything, you'll enjoy nothing.
It probably would. It's quite highly volatile, isn't it? Air fuel.
What, if it lands on snow and mixes with water, then suddenly it doesn't become flammable? I mean, I don't know, but
well, the amount that it was chugging out.
But it's nice for us. This is what I like about this podcast, and it's like I like when we're all on. We can all take gentle digs on it and have a bit of fun, but it doesn't take away from the fact that we all love the film in that way, and we do see it for the good popcorn proper blockbuster that it is. And equally, we can go see the Karate Kid, and you're the only one that likes it, Amanda, and the rest of us hate it, and go, why was this made? So yeah, that's the beauty.
I think an action film's first.
Oh, she's frozen. Oh, she's back.
I'm not.
Is to entertain, and this film entertained. I thought the start was good. I thought the end was good. The middle, nah. But the ending with the Zippo lighter and the jet fuel igniting was quality.
And the yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the movie, I'm just saying, when you watch the movie, especially when you're younger and you watch it in the 80s, all you want to do is you want to see Bruce Willis kill people, a lot of people, and survive at the end. And the mission accomplished.
Yeah.
We were happy. That's all we needed when we were younger. But again, we're a little bit more critical now. It's like, well, yeah, this really wouldn't have happened, but it's still a fun movie to watch.
And you look at
Excess course.
you look at the wasted opportunity. I really like Die Hard with a Vengeance. I think it's a good film. And I think it's because of Samuel L. Jackson and it's because of the chemistry between the two of them. But they wasted that opportunity of, this is Hans Gruber's brother, and you're like, right, okay, fine, okay, you can shoehorn this in. The ending of how Jeremy Irons dies at the end of Die Hard is almost like, oh, and then the credits roll. You're like, well, that was quick. 60 seconds ago, everything was all bad, and then it sorts itself out in final minute, and you're like, that's not a satisfying ending. So they spoiled a really good film in there, but with this one, definitely.
Well, I think there's a natural success of this. You got Die Hard 2, and then Die Hard 3 should have been The Rock. I think that's the only other action, as in they filmed The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, but
right.
Yeah, Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage. What a brilliant film that is, and that's the only other action film like this I can think of that's just well written and plotted and creative as this. So for me, I wonder if there is actually a link because there are similarities between the films as well. But yeah, that's for me. If I was going to have like a triple bill, you talked about the double bill played in the wrong order you went to in Telford back in the 90s. I would say Die Hard 2, The Rock would be a fun evening
out. Joe, you said you had stats. I can tell you that this film made double what Die Hard did.
Also, no, my stats are that from Rotten Tomatoes, and this is the critics' tomato meter, it got a 69%. The audience score, based at a 250,000 plus ratings, is 70%.
But
it ties in with what you've scored it then, Joe.
Right, well, that's
kind of, yeah.
I think for films of the 80s, I don't think that's reflective because if you've got people watching it now, they demand more. They demand the CGI and they demand everything else. And when they don't get it, they probably go, well, that was no good. I don't know what everyone was going on about. If you watched it in the cinema, which I think we all did, if you watched it in the cinema at that time, you're like, you came out of that going, oh, amazing. That's amazing. It's brilliant
rating, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Absolutely. Just before we go into trivia time, which we will, there is one final thing that I wanted to discuss, and that was in the counter-terrorism unit, the guy was replaced by Telford because the guy that was there had appendicitis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you've uncovered this huge plot and everything else, was the guy with appendicitis? Is anyone going to go and check, arrest him, basically, for being part of a conspiracy? And he's the only one that gets put on trial, and it becomes like the biggest trial, like Michael Jackson or something like that. You put this guy on trial and go, unravel this conspiracy. He must know all about it. He must know everything about it.
It would have been cool if he was a villain for another movie, for another sequel. And maybe it was Stallone. Maybe it was Rambo.
John Matrix. No. What's a Dutch Predator? Oof. Now we're talking crossovers.
Maybe actually did have appendicitis.
Yeah. I can visualize the start of the film now. He's doing pull-ups, and as he does a pull-up, he's got this little scar just on his left-hand side of his tummy, and that's how you know it's him. That's how you know it's him. I think we should be writers, Joe. I think you were right earlier. You were correct. Let's develop our own writers' room. Edit this out on the pod, Charles, not because it's terrible, but because this is.
Oh no, everything stays in. I'm lazy when it comes to editing; it just stays in unless we've done something horrible, like holding people out of windows by their legs. And God forbid we say stuff like that. Anyway, let's go to trivia time. Here is trivia time.
Trivia time.
So let's get some quick-fire trivia, because one of them is, and I'm having to read this out the computer, so I might not be staring at you as I normally do, all lovingly, of course. It says after the film's initial release in theaters, it played on TBS. Joe, what's TBS?
That's Turner Broadcasting System, Ted Turner's TV channel.
Okay, which was heavily dubbed for content by voice actors. These dubs were noted for sounding nothing like the actors who played their respective roles. Most noteworthy, McClane's famous line, Yippee-ki-yay, MFs, was dubbed into Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. There is no character in the film named Mr. Falcon, apart from Esperanza's code name is Falcon.
Oh my God, that's quite funny.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond.
They had to do that stuff. I mean, I know they did that for Scarface, and Scarface back in the day had the most F words in a movie. You should try to look at that version of that movie, where it's TBS, I think, had aired that one.
And while we're on it, I'm trying to search for a version of Crocodile Dundee. I don't know if this just popped up. There's a bit in Crocodile Dundee where he comes out the pub and there's two women there and the hookers, and basically said, "Oh, looks like we just have to give you one for free," because they're like him, they've seen on the TV or something. He goes, "Oh yeah, one what?" Right, hilarious, fish out of water, wonderful. The pimp comes up and he goes, "Yeah, I was just talking to these ladies and I was getting somewhere," and he winks, if you know what I mean, as in like sling your hook. Now, the original says, "Well, you're going to stand there or you're going to F them." And at that point, he smiles and then smacks him and knocks the pimp out. There is no record of that version anywhere. I have looked, I have searched, I've tried to find a version. I can't find it. The altered line is, and it's so poorly dubbed, "Are you going to stand there or are you going to screw them?" And you're like, don't mess with films.
Are we talking about a dream you once had or something?
No, that's absolutely true. When you go back, it's so poorly dubbed that you do remember the original.
And then your
What's
mum,
that,
"Oh, you're going to be late for school. Get up."
No, it's true.
Isn't that a Mandela effect?
What's that?
Mandela effect? You never heard of that?
No.
No.
It's where people have sworn to have seen something back in the past and that they were changed, and they feel like it could be like an alternate universe sort of thing that has crossed with our own universe, where we might have seen things that actually existed. Because back in the day, people were convinced that Nelson Mandela had died, and then they were shocked when they heard in the news like 20 years later that he just had died again. And so people had sworn that they had heard that he had died previously. And there's a lot of that stuff. I can't think of all the Mandela effects, but there's a ton of them. Like, did you ever hear the Bernstein Bears? It's like
I know
like
Carl
maybe
Bernstein, who broke the Watergate story, but I don't think it's related somehow.
Bernstein Bears was like a animated kids show about bears, family of bears. But when you look at the spelling of it, it's not Bernstein, it's Berenstein. And people will go to the grave saying that they were always Bernstein Bears and something had happened. And when they go back to their own videos and they see that it says Berenstein instead of Bernstein, like they're convinced that something happened throughout the universe that changed things for us, and that only a few people remember this. So you might be one of those people that see that as a Mandela effect with Crocodile Dundee.
I'll find you evidence. I mean, it's so badly dubbed that there is another word that should be in there. So I'm exactly right. Questioning my 80s recollection. How rude. Anyway,
A bit like correction, isn't it?
correction, yeah. For those who watch the what's it called, The Capture?
The Capture, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a BBC drama.
Some quick fire
rewriting what happened on CCTV, basically making it look like it's happening.
Very annoying in parts. First time Holly's seen on the plane, the woman sitting next to her is reading a magazine advertising the VHS release of Lethal Weapon 2.
Is it?
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah. I did like that one. According to the director in the DVD commentary, the shooting was originally going to take place in Washington around wintertime. When the crew got there, it was uncharacteristically warm. It was the mid-50s. This prompted the crew to travel throughout the Northwest and back in search of snow, which seemed to melt wherever they arrived. Most of the time, the snow was either trucked in from Canada or was made up of an assortment of lookalike snow, paper flakes, potato flakes, marble dust, rock salt. However, when the crew was in Colorado to film the snowmobile chase, they had to set up blankets of fake snow when a massive blizzard with temperatures well below freezing swept the state, and the shooting had to be shut down. So it's like, we ordered snow and now we can't because we've got snow. So we've got to shut down the thing that we've got. So, yeah. John McTiernan was due to be back to direct this film. So the director of Die Hard was going to come back, but couldn't because he was his commitment to the Hunt for Red October. And
That's too bad.
how glad that that he couldn't in that way, because we'd never have got Hunt for Red October.
You think we would have never gotten Hunt for Red October?
No, but I think you found a perfect moment in time. You saw, Alec Baldwin on the rise. You saw, I mean, Alec Baldwin was good. I mean, he's not having a good time now, but Alec Baldwin was good in the films that he was in, and he will always be my Jack Ryan, because he's the closest to the people, the character in the books. It's a bit like when we talk about Timothy Dalton as being the best Bond.
No, you do.
And Joe has
too.
Yeah. It's because he's closest to the books. And fine. If you've read the books, then it all makes sense. If you haven't read the books, you go, "Who's this guy?" And I know that's going to anger. Dom. Here we go.
Mandela effect. I went down a rabbit hole of looking at Mandela effect that Joe was just referring to. Maybe Timothy Dalton being the best Bond is one of those you've misremembered. The atoms have shifted, but it's really weird. Look, where do you think is New Zealand in relation to Australia? Apparently, these days it's to the southeast, but it says there is a community of people who claim to remember New Zealand being northeast instead of southeast.
Oh God, no! It's always been south. Well, I know it's south, but I didn't know.
Got to
Earthers.
Wow.
If you watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, you probably remember the line, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" You may be shocked to learn then that the line actually began with the phrase "magic mirror on the wall" instead.
Wow.
Well, it's the same thing with Jaws. With Jaws, when we're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, you're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
Some weird stuff going on there, glitch in the matrix, I think. But no, I'm going to look into that. I've become a bit interested in simulations and things recently, Joe. So
okay,
yeah.
Definitely, you can dive very deep into that hole with the Mandela effect.
Swear
dive into that hole tonight.
It does say here that the F word is used 60 times in the movie. I'd double that. I think there are different versions.
Following us back to the film that we're here to review.
I know. I'm sorry. I know. We need to get to.
We need to stop.
We need to stop in a moment.
You think? Wait, they said it was 60 times. You thought it was more?
Oh, it's more.
I don't know about that.
Loads more.
No.
Well, it was mostly Willis and Dennis Franz, right? Saying the F word.
It's more. I think there are different versions of this movie, and now we're talking about the Mandela effect. Right, after this on WhatsApp, I'm going to put the Crocodile Dundee thing, and I know I'm right. I know I'm 100% right. I've told you, I sent you yesterday why Die Hard was a Christmas movie. That's right. It's fine. Sometimes there's no need for discussion. Anyway, there's the end of trivia time, because otherwise we'd be here all day.
We would.
Anyway, that draws to a close. That one. The first of the Christmas films. The second one being, do we announce it now? Can we allowed to say?
We can do.
You're the boss.
Who wants to announce it via the medium of a scene in the film? And not me. I'll not do it.
I won't do it.
Okay. No takers from Dom or Joe? Oh.
No,
okay,
you should.
I'll go.
Oh, damn. How many drinks did you have?
Bricks in the face. Nothing screams Christmas than someone getting electrocuted, and then getting a bag of spanners on the head. Yes, it's Christmas. Yes, we're going to be doing Home Alone 2, and we'll do that.
We'll have a special guest.
We do. We'll be joined by my daughter Amy, and I don't know, Dom.
Oh, and mine.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, our daughter. Sorry, Dom.
All right, I did all the hard work.
You bring Isabel, Rose?
Well, possibly Rose. Remind me how old Amy is. How old is she?
Amy's 12
and a half.
I could bring Rose. She's 11. I think Isabel's too cool for school these days.
All right, okay. Well, it shouldn't have to, but she's more than welcome and love to, because let's have a nice Christmassy thing. We also have to think about the other film, so it's not going to be a spoiler. But I think we've got to do it around in between Christmas and New Year if we got some time, because we'll need to at that time.
What, a Christmas film or a non-Christmas film?
Non-Christmas film. It's back to sequels. No more Christmas films. Can't do 3 Christmas films.
Okay.
We're going to do Aliens. Nothing screams.
It's not even December 1st yet, and we've done 3 Christmas films.
No, we haven't done.
We
No,
don't do 3. We'll do 2.
this one's going out in a week's time.
Oh,
We'll just-
okay, all right.
So, and then we do 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks after that, in between, we'll do Aliens. Yeah.
So is a Home Alone 2? Is that going to be the Donald Trump version?
There's only that version. I'm not keen on censorship
I think it's
in many ways, but
I think it's banned in Canada. I think they removed him.
Oh, for God's sake.
well, it's Canada, isn't it? Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
They should have crashed a plane load of Canadians, and that would have been the compromise.
Yeah. I still don't know why we haven't taken them over yet.
Oh, I
It'd
don't
be
know.
such an easy victory. It would be like a
Honestly,
3-day
Jay,
war.
You never hear the end of it. Believe me, we've got past record of that with Ireland and everywhere, and you just never stop giving you a hard time about these things that happen in the past.
Yeah, well,
it's not worth it, really. Yeah.
You guys couldn't take over Ireland? I mean, that's
Tru-
all I'm
Trudeau-
going to say.
Trudeau would wet himself. Anyway, not a leader, not a strong leader, as you'd say. Drinking his soy lattes. Anyway, let's bring this to a close. Joe, just in case this is the first podcast that somebody's chosen, and it could be, because if I was rummaging around looking for a new podcast, I'd go, what I'm in the mood to listen to. I probably would have picked Die Hard too. So do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Walt Disney World News Today or WDW News Today. I have a podcast there called Nerd Alert. Charlie shows up from time to time on the show, and he was with us on our annual Toys for Tots marathon, and he helped us raise a lot of money for the cause, and very grateful for him being part of Nerd Alert and contributing. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I can attest to that. It's a great podcast. So it's always on my rotation, every single new one that comes out. I don't suppose we'll get one next week.
We'll get the marathon one.
We'll get the marathon one, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. I can see how badly my echo affected things, so that'll be fun. Excellent. Right. Well, we'll see you for Home Alone 2. So bye, everyone.
What about everybody else?
Well, I'm going to say bye, and then everyone else can go.
You can't find me. You can find Rusted Junk.
Well, Dom, unless there's some secret podcast or book that you've written, Dom, then I just assume that you
fly under the radar.
Okay.
I'm just going to do the first draft of that script we talked about earlier. That's my my new thing here. So no,
I just felt bad for everybody else. It's like, so Joe, where can everybody find you? And I told them, and then it's like, all right, goodbye.
Well, you're the only one. Okay.
Amanda, Dom.
Right. Okay. So, Dom, please tell us about your latest play that you've written and how the casting's going.
I'll reveal that to the world later. I'll say farewell, melon farmers. That's goodbye from me tonight.
Amanda, have you got anything that you want to promote?
What's our Rusted Junk stuff?
What, the very podcast that we're on at the moment? You mean that?
No,
that
the
one?
email and stuff.
Oh, just go to Facebook Messenger and type in Rusted Junk. We've got the web page, but it's not ready yet. It will be ready for Home Alone 2 for us to promote.
We need to get off Facebook and go onto TikTok or something. We need to
TikTok's banned in this house. Can't have it.
Yeah, we don't do TikTok. I've got an Insta page. I did set that up, but it's more pictures, isn't it?
You can do video on Instagram. I believe he says twirling his moustache.
Oh, are you sure? Let's get the Zimmer frames out. Are you sure you can do video on Insta? Let's get
you
down
calling
with
it
the
Insta?
kids.
Trying to be down with the kids. It's Instagram. You know, it's not a cup of, it's not a hot
You
chocolate.
don't say the gram, babes.
Why?
No.
What do you call Facebook? Face.
No one uses Facebook apart from old people.
People who need to arrange stuff. But it works for people to arrange stuff.
It's meta babes.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh yeah,
let's,
it is. It's meta.
Let's
Meta.
kick off then. Right.
Right. See you later, everyone. Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.